The phone stayed silent. Just one quick buzz, soft, almost pleading, in the hands of a 7-year-old girl hiding inside a busted wardrobe that stank of dust, old soap, and plain terror. Out past the flimsy door, shouting slammed through the apartment. A woman's cry cut the noise. Something broke. Then, boom, a heavy thud shook the floor under her bare feet. Lily Harper shut her eyes tight. She was tiny for 7, knees jammed to her chest, pink pajamas soaked with tears she didn't remember wiping away. Her heart hammered so hard she thought it might crack her ribs. The phone felt heavy and useless. The screen was all cracked from too many drops. Her mom had only let her keep it for emergencies. "This is an emergency," Lily whispered, voice trembling. "Mommy's hurt." She didn't check the number, just typed. Her fingers slipped, smearing tears on the glass, but she managed the words that counted. "He broke Mom's arm. Please help." She hit send. Her mother screamed again. 3,000 miles away, in a city that never really slept, a phone glowed on a black marble table in a penthouse that watched over Manhattan like a king on a mountain. The place was quiet except for the low pulse of old, deep power humming through the walls. Lucien Nocturne, Vampire King of the Northern Coven, stood at the head of a council table made of obsidian and bone. He hadn't moved for minutes. All around him sat monsters who'd survived empires and bloodbaths and centuries. Nobody spoke. "You didn't interrupt the king." Lucien's phone buzzed. Just once. Every vampire in the room tensed. No human had that number. Lucien frowned, sharp and unreadable, and picked up the phone. Unknown number. Oregon area code. Must have been a mistake. Then he read the message. "He broke Mom's arm. Please help." Something old and restless woke up inside his chest. Lucien didn't need air, but right then his body acted like it did. Pressure built behind his ribs. An instinct deeper than the coven's, deeper than the crown. A child. In trouble. The temperature plunged. Frost crept over the glass. One of the elders swallowed, eyes wide. "My king?" someone whispered. Lucien didn't bother to reply. He typed 3 words. "I'm on my way." The lights flickered as he hit send. Somewhere deep under the city, something ancient opened its eyes. Back in the apartment, Lily stopped breathing as footsteps pounded closer. The wardrobe door shook, something big slamming into it. She clutched the phone to her chest. "Lily." A man's voice, rough and furious. "Get out here." Her mom sobbed, weak and begging. "Please, don't touch her." Lily bit her lips so hard she tasted blood. Then, nothing. Not shouting. Not glass breaking. Just that thick, unnatural silence. The air felt wrong. Outside, the front door didn't just open. It blew apart. Metal shrieked. Wood split. Wind screamed through the apartment, rain and darkness crashing inside. Lily screamed, hands over her ears, the world breaking all at once. Footsteps, slow, heavy, crossed the floor. A huge shadow filled the hallway. The man who'd been yelling stumbled back, choking on his own fear. Who the hell are you?" The answer came, calm and cold as stone. "You broke her arm." Lily peeked through a crack in the door. A tall man stood in the wreckage, untouched by storm or flying wood. His eyes glowed red, burning like dying stars. Just standing there, he pressed the air flat. The man who hurt her mother crumpled to his knees. Lucien Nocturne stepped forward. And the night moved with him. The man who broke Sarah Harper's arm never even saw it coming. One moment, he scrambled backward across the cracked linoleum, panic swallowing up whatever anger he had left. The next, he was off the ground, feet kicking at nothing. Lucien Nocturne's hand clamped around his throat. His grip didn't even look that tight, but the pressure was total, iron around glass. "You hurt her," Lucien said. Quiet, almost gentle. He didn't have to raise his voice. It just settled over the apartment, heavy as a sentence. Sarah lay crumpled near the kitchen counter, her arm bent in a way that twisted her stomach. Pain hit her in sick waves, but fear burned hotter. She forced her eyes open just in time to see this stranger, this man who shouldn't exist, hoist her attacker like he weighed nothing. Please," the man choked out. "I didn't, she made me." Lucien's eyes flicked over to Sarah. Everything slowed down. He saw it all at once. The bruises blooming along her cheek, tears streaked down her face, her body curled in tight, still protecting herself. And underneath all that, something else, something that made the ancient thing inside him go perfectly still. Resilience. Not broken. Never broken. Behind him, a wardrobe door creaked open. "Mommy," Lily whispered. Lucien felt her presence tug at him, pulling at something deep in his chest. He turned just enough to see the little girl peeking out, eyes wide, not screaming, hands tight around the phone that had called him across the world. She wasn't scared of him. That all on its own was rare. "Go to your mother," Lucien said, gentle, eyes never leaving the man in his grip. Lily only hesitated a second, then darted across the room. She dropped to her knees by Sarah, careful not to bump her broken arm, her small hands shaking as she brushed hair from her mother's face. "I texted for help," Lily whispered. "I'm sorry. I didn't know who'd come." Sarah tried to answer, but her voice just broke. Tears slipped down her cheeks as she hugged Lily with her good arm. Behind them, the man let out a strangled sob. Lucien breathed out, long and tired. "You see," he said, his grip tightening just enough, "you didn't just hurt a woman. You terrorized a child." The man's eyes rolled back. He went limp. Lucien let him go. He hit the floor in a heap. Outside, the rain picked up, hammering the broken doorway like the night itself approved. A few minutes later, black SUVs glided into the lot, their windows darker than midnight. Men stepped out, tall, pale, moving in perfect sync. They secured the apartment without a word, scooping up the unconscious abuser like he was nothing more than luggage. Lucien knelt beside Sarah. He lowered himself to her level, expensive coat brushing the dirty floor like he didn't care. Up close, his eyes looked less red, more stormy gray. "You're safe now," he said. Sarah flinched, couldn't help it. Lucien leaned back, giving her space. "I won't touch you unless you ask," he said, steady as ever. "But your arm needs help. Right away." "Who are you?" Sarah managed. Lucien glanced at Lily, watching him with wary curiosity, not fear. "A friend," he said after a beat. "Not the one you meant to call. But the one who came." Lily swallowed. "You got here really fast." Something, almost a smile, tugged at Lucien's mouth. "I don't ignore children who ask for help." Carefully, Lucien lifted Sarah. His touch was cool and steady, like her pain faded the second he held her. She gasped, then slumped against him, finally spent. Lily's eyes went wide. "Mommy?" "She's just tired," Lucien said. "She's been strong for a long time." He carried Sarah to the door. Lily followed. No one had to tell her. The estate was nothing like anything Lily had seen. Later that night, she woke curled on a couch bigger than her whole room back home. For a second she thought she was dreaming. The ceiling arched high above, painted with faint, shimmering stars. The air smelled clean, like rain and something old and safe. Her mother slept nearby on a bed, arm wrapped in a sleek black brace. For once she looked peaceful. A tall man sat by the window, perfectly still. Lucien turned when Lily stirred. "Bad dreams?" he asked. Lily shook her head. "Is this heaven?" "No," Lucien said, gentle. "But you're safe here." She thought about that. "Are you a king?" Lucien paused. "Yes," he said. Lily nodded, like that answered everything. "Kings help people, right?" Lucien felt something inside him crack. "They should," he said. Outside, in the dark, unseen eyes watched the estate. Rumors tore through the supernatural world. Sharp, fast, impossible to stop. The vampire king had abandoned his throne. All for a human woman. And her kid. Everyone knew war was coming. Still, in that hush of a quiet room, Lily's tiny fingers wrapped around Lucien's. She didn't hesitate. Didn't flinch. And after centuries spent keeping his distance, Lucien Nocturne let her hold on. He didn't let go. The house was quiet, but Lucien Nocturne wasn't sleeping. He stood alone on the balcony, staring out at the moonlit forest. The iron rail felt cold under his hands. Down below, the land throbbed with old magic, wards cut into stone, tangled in roots, etched in bone. They bent anything dark enough to threaten the estate, and Lucien had never needed them before. Until tonight. Inside, Sarah Harper was asleep. 3 doctors watched over her, 2 human, 1 something else. Her broken arm was already healing faster than it should. Lucien could sense her heartbeat from the balcony. Slow, steady, alive. Every time it skipped, something wild and angry woke up inside him. That scared him more than the enemies gathering outside. He heard footsteps behind him. "You brought a child into a vampire stronghold," said Valerius, his oldest general. "The council isn't happy." Lucien didn't look back. "They'll get over it." "It's not about comfort," Valerius told him. "It's the law. Human children aren't allowed." Lucien gripped the railing tighter. "Then the law's wrong." Valerius hesitated. "My king, the girl isn't ordinary." That got Lucien's attention. He turned. "What do you mean?" Valerius swallowed. "The wards reacted to her. Not just activated, they bowed. Silence settled between them. That can't be, Lucian said. We thought so too, Valerius said. But when she walked past the eastern seal, it faded. Like it knew her. A chill ran down Lucian's spine. It wasn't fear. It was recognition. Where is she now? Asleep. But, Valerius lowered his voice, the night knows her. Lily dreamed of stars. Not painted ones, not the ones in picture books. Real stars, alive and whispering her name. She stood barefoot on black stone under a sky that thudded like a heartbeat. Shadows circled her, curious, not scary. Hello, she said. The darkness shifted, parting for her. Something huge stepped forward. Silver eyes. Wings folded around it like a cathedral. Lily should have been scared. She wasn't. You're loud, she said, polite as ever. The creature dipped its head. You called, the night said without words. We heard you. Lily frowned. I called for help. For my mom. And help came. She thought of Lucian. His cold hands. That gentle way he spoke. How safe everything felt when he was near. Is he like you? She asked. The night seemed to think. He's ours. But you. The shadows leaned in, almost bowing. You're something older. Lily jerked awake, gasping. Lucian felt it. A sharp pulse tore through the estate. The wards blazed, then dropped to a low hum that buzzed in his bones. He moved before the echo faded, landing outside Lily's door. He eased it open. Lily sat up in bed, breathing hard, her hands glowing faintly silver. Lucian froze. The light faded fast. Lily blinked at him, wide-eyed. Did I do something bad? She whispered. Lucian knelt, slow and careful, like she was something holy. No, he said softly. You did something powerful. Her lower lip trembled. I don't want to hurt anybody. You won't, Lucian promised. And he meant it in a way that felt deeper than blood. No one who shines like that ever does. Sarah stirred behind him. Lucian stood, face smoothing into calm. Lily? Sarah called. I'm here, Mommy, Lily said, scrambling out of bed and curling up beside her. Sarah's eyes met Lucian's. She looked scared, but then something else flickered through. Gratitude. Maybe trust. Maybe a question she couldn't quite ask. What is she? Sarah whispered. Lucian paused. A child, he answered first. And something the world's been waiting for. Sarah set her jaw. I don't want her turned into a weapon. She won't be, Lucian said firm. Not while I'm here. She studied him. You don't breathe. Lucian almost smiled. Old habits. The council didn't wait for sunrise. Beneath the city, 12 ancient vampires met in a stone chamber, their voices sharp and tight with fear. The girl bends the night, one hissed. We have to take her. She needs to be destroyed, another snapped. Before prophecy wakes. The king's compromised, a third said. He's picked a human over balance. Above them, unseen, Lucian listened. His eyes burned. Let them come, he muttered. Back at the estate, Lily sat by the window with him, sipping warm milk. Mr. Lucian? She asked. Yes, little star? Are people mad at you because of me? Lucian looked at her, all small and quiet, shaking an ancient world just by being alive. Yes, he said. But that's not your fault. She nodded, serious. Then I'll be brave. Lucian felt something inside finally break open. The night had recognized her. Now it owed him answers. Dusk fell and the attack slipped in with it. Not fire. Not claws. Just silence. Thicker than fog, heavy as dread. Lucian sensed it first. The wards tightened, the air pressed in, and everything outside froze. Even the bugs shut up like the whole world held its breath. They're here, Valerius said from the doorway, hand already on his sword. Lucian didn't move. He watched Lily cross-legged on the rug, coloring so hard she might burn a hole in the paper. Sarah sat on the couch, her arm tense, body coiled tight. Lucian knew that look. Survivor's reflex. How many? He asked. 3 envoys, Valerius said. And something else. Lucian's jaw clenched. Take Sarah to the east wing. Full guard. Sarah was up in a heartbeat. I'm not leaving my daughter. Lucian stared her down. Neither am I. She stopped arguing. He knelt by Lily. Hey, little star. I need you to do something important for me. She looked up, eyes clear. Is someone in trouble? Yes, Lucian said. But not you. She weighed that, then nodded. Okay. He slipped a plain silver pendant over her head. Old, unmarked, somehow warm. The moment it touched her, the air rippled. Sarah's breath caught. What did you just give her? Protection, Lucien said. And a promise. The vampire court didn't bother with an entrance. 3 figures just appeared in the great hall, souring the air. Ancient, dangerous. Their eyes locked onto Lily. There, Lady Morwen hissed. The child. Lucien stepped forward, blocking their view. You're in my home. Uninvited. You're breaking covenant law, Morwen shot back. That girl bends primal forces. She's unstable. Lily grabbed Sarah's hand. Sarah squeezed back, steady, though fear burned in her chest. She's 7. Morwen's lips curled. That makes her more dangerous. Lucien's eyes flashed. Enough. The room trembled. Don't talk about her like a weapon, he said, voice low and cutting. She's under my protection. Morwen laughed, soft and sharp. Protection ends where prophecy begins, my king. Lily flinched at that word. Lucien didn't miss it. What prophecy? The envoys exchanged glances. Morwen finally spoke. The child of night and breath. Born human. Called by innocence. Recognized by shadow. When harmed, the night responds. When loved. She stopped. Finish it, Lucien demanded, voice like ice. When loved, Morwen said, almost whispering, she crowns a king, or ends him. Silence slammed through the hall. Sarah's knees nearly buckled. You're talking about my daughter like she's a curse. Morwen shook her head. No. Like she's a reckoning. Lucien moved. One blink and he was right in Morwen's face, eyes red as wounds. You're leaving, he said. And if we don't? One envoy challenged. Lucien smiled. The lights exploded. Darkness filled the hall. Not just the absence of light. It pressed in, alive, shadows twisting around the envoys, dropping them to their knees. Lily gasped. Not scared. Amazed. Lucien, Sarah breathed. He raised his hand. The darkness froze. Go, Lucien said. And tell the court, touch one hair on her head and I'll tear down everything you rule. The envoys vanished. Ash and fury swept away. Later, after the house settled into a shaky quiet, Sarah stood on the balcony. Lucien joined her, keeping some space. They think she's a threat, Sarah said, voice low. They fear what they can't control, Lucien answered. She's just a child. He nodded. And that's why they're wrong. Sarah turned. Why are you really doing this? Lucien met her eyes. This time no walls. Because when she called for help, the night listened. And when I saw you, hurt, still fighting, I remembered something I thought I'd lost. What? Why power matters at all. Inside, Lily slept easy, the silver pendant glowing on her chest. The court had made their move. Lucien had chosen. And the night was watching. The first death came with the sunrise. Not by Lucien's hand, just because he existed. A minor coven lord, Herrick, crossed the western boundary at dawn. He ignored the warnings, the ones carved into stone and blood. He brought hunters with him. Ancient spells. Silver laced with runes meant for binding kings. He thought the court would protect him if he pulled this off. He guessed wrong. The second his boot broke the line, the forest woke. Roots burst up, yanking his men down screaming. The silver net fizzled out, useless. Herrick made it 3 steps in before the shadows closed around him, holding him fast. Lucien appeared, silent as always. You were warned, Lucien said. Herrick just laughed, blood dribbling from his mouth. You'll doom us all for a child. Lucien's eyes flicked, just for a second, toward the house. Lily asleep and safe. No, he said. I'll save us all. You just won't live to see it. The woods went still. By noon the news had spread. Every supernatural group knew the truth. The Vampire King had picked a side. He'd chosen. Inside the estate Sarah felt it too. The air had changed, thick with tension, like a storm that wouldn't break. She sat at the long table, her tea untouched and cold, watching Lily quietly sketch symbols she shouldn't have known. What are those? Sarah asked, voice low. Lily tilted her head. Doors. Sarah's chest squeezed. Doors to where? Lily shrugged. The night. Sarah looked up just as Lucien walked in. He froze when he saw the drawing. For the first time since she'd met him, Lucien looked afraid. Lily, he said softly, who showed you that? No one, Lily said. I just remember. Lucien knelt beside her. Do you hear things? Voices? Not voices. Lily frowned. Feelings. Sarah's knuckles whitened around the table edge. What's happening to my daughter? Lucien straightened, slow and careful. The court's been hiding something, he said. From all of us. That night, Lucien called up the archive. Deep under the estate, locked behind words written in dead languages. The truth waited. Scrolls. Bones. Memories stained into paper and blood. Valerius kept watch while Lucian read. She's not a weapon, Valerius said quietly. No, Lucian said. She's a bridge. The prophecy was older than any coven. It spoke of a human child born powerless, but able to command power through empathy alone. Someone who could steady the night, calm its hunger, end the endless bloodshed. She can quiet the blood, Valerius whispered. Stop the need for mass feeding. And that, Lucian said, rolling up the scroll, is why they want her gone. The court struck again, this time no secrets. The sky split open as old vampires dropped onto the estate, their power crackling in the air. Wards flared. The ground trembled. Lucian stood at the front gates, alone, coat snapping in the wind. Behind him, Sarah held Lily close. I'm scared, Lily whispered. Lucian turned, knelt to meet her eyes. That's okay. Bravery isn't not being scared, it's choosing kindness anyway. Lily nodded. Then I choose you. The second she said it, everything changed. Light, neither holy nor dark, poured out from her heart, wrapping the estate in a shimmering shield. The attacking vampires froze in midair, rage draining from their faces. Lucian felt it like a gentle hand on his soul. The hunger faded. The bloodlust quieted. Some of the attackers dropped to their knees. Others cried. What is she? Someone whispered. Lucian straightened, energy roaring through him, steady now, focused. She's the future, he said. And you won't harm her. Those who ran survived. Those who didn't. After the fight, dawn crept in soft and pink. The estate stood unharmed, the forest peaceful again. Sarah sat beside Lucian on the steps. She saved you, Sarah said quiet. Lucian nodded. And changed everything. Sarah looked at him, not as a monster, not as a king, but as someone who'd bled for them. You didn't have to choose us, she said. Lucian met her eyes. I did. Inside, Lily slept without fear. The night no longer whispered. It listened. The war wasn't done. But the balance had shifted. And for the first time in centuries, the darkness was learning how to be gentle. The world kept turning. Out of everything, that's what truly rattled the supernatural courts. For centuries, every prophecy about change ended the same way: blood, ashes, or someone's doom. But after the attack on Lucian's estate fizzled out, the night just stayed quiet. Vampires, once so starved they tore through anyone nearby, found their hunger easing into something they could actually live with. The wild feeding sprees stopped. Whole covens reported something nobody had ever seen before. Lucian Nocturne stood in the Hall of Concord, a place where wars used to start. Now he waited, silent, surrounded by the top dogs of the supernatural world. He waited for them to say something. They didn't. They just stared at the small human girl next to him. Lily Harper wore a plain white dress. No crown, no fancy jewelry, just a silver pendant glowing softly over her heart. She clung to her mother's hand and gazed around the hall, more curious than scared. Someone muttered, "She doesn't belong here." Lucian's voice sliced through the tension. "She belongs wherever she wants." The elder who'd spoken fidgeted. "She changes us." Lucian didn't hesitate. That's the point. Sarah never pictured herself in a room full of legends and monsters. Her knees shook, but she gripped Lily's hand and didn't let go. She'd seen this girl survive terror and pain and somehow show the darkness a little mercy. "They talk like you're a miracle," Sarah whispered. Lily shook her head. "I just don't want anyone to hurt anymore." Lucian heard her. Something inside him, old and always restless, finally settled. Morwen stepped forward next, sharp-eyed but worn out. "If the child truly ends the hunger," she said, "then we don't need a throne anymore." Lucian nodded. "Then let things change." A wave of gasps swept through the room. "A king who gives up power?" Morwen said, almost laughing. "That's unheard of." Lucian glanced at Lily, then Sarah, then everyone else. "I'm not giving it up," he said, calm as ever. "I'm changing what it means." He knelt beside Lily, bringing himself to her level. "The night saw you," he told her. "Not to rule but to guide. Will you let me stand with you?" Lily thought about it, then nodded. "If you're kind." And for the first time in centuries, Lucian actually smiled. The coronation that followed? Nothing like anything the world had seen before. No blood. No painful oaths. Lucian set his crown at Lily's feet instead of putting it on his own head. "I'm still king," he said, "but she's our compass now." And the night answered, shadows bowing, peace settling in. Life changed a little at a time. Sarah and Lily found a real home, not as guests but as family. Sarah grew into someone strong, her fear melting into confidence, her words carrying weight in places that once would have shut her down. And Lucien, well, he learned how to be more than a king. He learned patience when Lily fumbled his cloak. He listened when Sarah spoke. He figured out how to be gentle without losing his edge. One evening, just as the sun dipped low, Sarah joined him in the garden. "She's happy," Sarah said. Lucien nodded. "Because she's safe." Sarah hesitated. "And you?" He met her eyes. "I'm learning." She smiled. For now that was enough. Years down the line people would tell stories. They'd talk about a vampire king who answered a wrong number. About a little girl whose kindness stilled the hunger of monsters. About a world that picked compassion over cruelty. But on that quiet night, Lucien watched Lily sleep, the night peaceful around her, and he knew something for sure. Power isn't about fear. It's about protecting the ones who need it most.